You know what's amazing? For this video, I was like, I'll put up all of my booster action figures because I know I have a bunch of them. I spent about a half hour searching through all my bins to look for them, and I just kind of gave up. I didn't get through all of them, but I'm like, it's not worth it. For one video, who are we doing? Let's not do more work than we need to. So yeah, let's talk about this character. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Batmaning of. This is the show where I take a character from the DC universe and make my The Batman movie for them. And today we are doing a character that I am super excited to do because he is one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. One of the earlier characters that I was just interested in and connected with for a multitude of reasons. We of course are talking about Michael John Carter, MJC himself. Booster Gold. Slap it on a sticker, shove it on your truck, you know? Booster Gold. I love Booster. I've always been a fan of this character. I think for a multitude of reasons, he just connected with me in different ways. Just being a guy who didn't take the world so seriously, longing for something greater than what he had. There is sort of an arrogance to the character of Booster Gold, but he's never a complete dick about it. Sure, he's kind of silly and doesn't take everything seriously, but he's not like a huge, ginormous asshole about it. His heart is always in the right place, and he's always looking to do something good. I respect that a lot, and I think it's very fun. And something else about Booster I've always been fascinated by, and I truly stand by this. He is one of the few characters in the DC universe that feels like a Marvel character. You know, I love Marvel Comics, and I love DC. I love them both for different reasons, but you could take the entire Booster Gold mythos. The man from the future, longs for a better world, comes back to be a hero of the present day, gets into some shenanigans along the time, maybe some time, whatever crap, joins the Justice League, whatever. That feels like it could be an Avengers story. That feels like it could be an X-Men story. I just like Booster a lot. He's so fun and different, and has his own unique feel to the entirety of the DC universe. It's such an enjoyable character who gets the spotlight sometimes and then really doesn't. He's always like a character that you could probably recognize in a crowd, and a lot of comic book fans would be like, yeah, that's Booster Gold. Some non-comic book fans could probably tell you who he is, but he's never been like the guy that people are known for or has everyone connected. So he does have that kind of strictly comic book energy about him without being inadvertently, just too in the weeds of a comic book. It's not a complicated story. In fact, it's one that lends itself to a movie, which is what we're here to talk about today. Because come on, it's a simple story. Guy from the future, his life is headed in a direction he doesn't want to, longs for a yesteryear of superheroes, goes to a museum of superheroes, steals some power suits and a couple rings, heads back to our time, then boom, the story unfolds. Great character, great fun, so many genuine, interesting things you can do with this guy, and it's so cool. And we haven't really talked about a straight up just a goofball doing any of these videos, but that's kind of what he is. Now, I am going to do strictly a Booster Gold movie. I could do a Blue and Gold movie and get Blue Beetle in here. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. This is just strictly Michael. I just want to strictly do Michael because I think there's just something to say about this guy finding himself. And he has an identity away from Ted, which is an interesting thing to see. How he deals with the world after the death of Ted is a very interesting thing to see and play with. Maybe we'll go in that direction. Who's to say? But just having a Booster Gold character, I think he matters. And he could easily become a fan favorite, and I think he already is. There's a whole lot of people that like this guy, a whole lot of people that think he's silly, but to me, you need the silly. You can't just have the dramatics every week. Sometimes you just have to have a guy who's going to laugh at a situation. He might say something really stupid and kind of dumb, but his heart's in the right place. I'm going to describe it like this to some people. I would say Booster Gold, Michael John Carter, is the closest a character in the DC universe is to Joey Tribbiani. You know, he's kind of silly, but he cares about his friends, not the brightest guy, but knows where his heart is, will protect his family, and understands his legacy and his importance. And I think that's kind of what Booster Gold is like too. Just the big kind of goofball, but you don't want to look away from the train wreck because there's something fun about him. Personally, my connection is when I kind of like did a deep dive into a lot of DC comic books, Booster was kind of there at the forefront. The Jeff Johns era stuff I loved to read. I really liked 52. JLI is a really fun series, and just seeing him in there is great. He's a character I just gravitated to instantly. Just kind of like the fun, cool dude. He did have a recent miniseries, Blue and Gold. It was really fun. The character is just prominent, and people like writing him. You can make it a very modern story, too, and that's the important thing, too, because he's kind of all about, like, the internet, Instagram kind of lifestyle, like getting the attention in the worldwide public view, and when you do that in an internet setting, hey, works for Booster. That's kind of what his thing is. Now, the amazing thing about this is there's been a movie in talks for a long time, maybe a TV show, blah, 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 maybe the logo appeared in Man of Steel, it doesn't matter. There's never been like a definitive version of the character in live action. There's been a couple animated appearances that have been pretty fun. But in live action, you have a really weird take of him on Smallville. Didn't really work. Not that interesting. Nothing to really talk about. And then Donald Faison was tapped to play him in the next season of Legends of Tomorrow. He had a small cameo at the end of the season showing him playing golf. And, well, Donald wasn't like my first choice, not for a few reasons. Just I think he was a little too old for the role. I don't know if his energy is exactly the kind of goofball that Booster represents. I don't hate him, but it's just not where I would have went with it. We never had the definitive version, and I do think some people have like their definitive version of Booster in their mind for who to play him. The big fan cast going around is Glenn Powell, and I think that's a perfect choice, but because everyone's saying it, I don't want to say that one, so I have a different one. But I think I can honestly say Booster is one of those characters where I'm like, let me write him. You know, I have some ideas for Booster, but if like James Gunn came up to me and said, hey, you have your pick of the litter for the DC universe, who do you want to write? I'm like, okay, I'm doing Booster. I have an idea. I want to play with it. Let's see what we got. So I always say like, okay, Batman's Chinatown Flash movie was, you know, kind of just like an old mobster thing. What are we going to do for Booster? What do we want the energy to feel like? And well, I don't have a specific feeling for Booster. I kind of want it to feel like an Amblin film, if that kind of makes sense. Or just like a classic 80s whatever. It's like, okay, there's a silly guy in a situation that he's kind of in over his head on, and now he's trapped in this world that he doesn't fully understand, but he's trying to get through it. You know, kind of Back to the Future-y in that setting. More Michael J. Fox, like, in that vibe, though, where it's like, oh, man, what am I doing here? But he's not incompetent. He's just not the brightest guy for everything he's doing. So, here's my pitch for a Booster Gold movie. It is pretty straightforward because the character lends himself to a simple story. It involves time travel, so there you go. It's already written for you, right? We start in the future. His present day, Gotham City. Kid just wants to make a name for himself. He's not really getting as far as he wants to in his football career. And suddenly he's just like, I love these heroes. This world's weird. We have the technology. Maybe I should try to be a superhero. I can't be a superhero here. I'm going to go back to the time of the age of superheroes. So we follow as he steals the power suit, steals the ring, steals Skeets. Skeets is, of course, a crucial part of this character. They somehow find a way to travel back in time, and that alerts the Time Lords or whatever. You could Time Lords, just a time authorities in some variety of the word. And a man named Rip Hunter is sent to investigate what this man from the future is doing. And then we follow Michael as he comes back to the present, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna be a superhero. But it's not that easy. There's other heroes doing stuff for him. Nothing is really working out the way he wants it to. Tries to foil a bank heist, messes it up, tries to make himself look like the hero. The public's like, this isn't working. Rip Hunter finds him, and then what we get is I'm going to describe as a mad dash through time. It's a game of cat and mouse. You're getting chased through time in different areas, and Booster, being the goofball he is, the guy who can't really keep himself focused on the task long enough to understand he's messing up, well, he accidentally messes up time a little bit. So you have Skeets in his ear telling him this is wrong, Rip Hunter chasing him on the other side, and he's like, I'm in the Renaissance, what am I doing here? I'm in the prehistoric times, I just killed a fish coming out of the water. Why are we suddenly in a world where everything's on fire? What did I do? And then as the story progresses, he realizes he has to do the right thing, and that means stopping himself from being a complete failure. So he teams up with Rip to fix everything he did wrong. And Rip is just like, dude, your heart's in the right place. I think you can help people. Why don't you be Booster Gold? You know, it's like this guy thinks he could do good, messes up, but his heart is in the right place. And the people who are fighting him are like, you know what? I think you could actually try something here. Bada bing, bada boom, Booster Gold gets a movie. Now, I don't have a voice for Skeets. I like the idea of Alan Tudyk being the voice. That's kind of fun. But I do have somebody in mind for Booster Gold that I don't think anybody has really brought up in the conversation yet. A little bit of an oddball choice, but I'm going to go with it. My pick for Booster Gold is Harris Dickinson, who is the star of Triangle of Sadness and a bunch of other things. The dude has, like, the dumbfounded look that I think Booster needs. But the gravitas to make that performance look like it's more than just, like, you know, an idiot running around, which is important. He's got a great face too. Just has the distinctive look in his eyes that works for a Booster Gold. Now, who do you get to direct a movie like this? You could easily just do a big comedy star, big comedy goofball to walk in there and direct a movie like this. I went with Mark Mylod, who did The Menu recently. The dude's worked on a bunch of other big TV shows that kind of have that like sassy, comeback, sarcastic energy, which is kind of what I'm hoping for with a Booster movie. This guy who is so competent, but hey, everyone is like, this guy sucks, what are we doing here? That's the right energy for Booster Gold. Heart of Gold, baby. If you wanted to have a subtitle, Booster Gold, Heart of Gold, you know? That kind of thing. But this character is fun. There's so much to explore with a Booster Gold movie. A fun time travel adventure. It's enjoyable, it's interesting, it's Booster Gold, and that is this episode of the Batmaning of. And of course, I have to ask, who do you guys want to see me talk about? Please leave it in the comments below. If you don't want to do that, just like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Hive, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.